This microphone. Right, good evening, guys, and welcome to the next live stream from the FPL family. My name is Lee. This is Sam. Don't you shake your head, it's even started. Don't you shake your head. We're sitting here thinking, come on, paint those smiles on. What a terrible football week and what a terrible FPL week. Goodness me.
It's probably the worst weekend, football-wise.
We need perking up, don't we?
Of my life.
Terrible. It's pretty terrible. I was literally about to start the vlog with, well, at least we've got El Clasico on and we know that Madrid can see goals because Suarez scored. They can score them as well because I literally hit right. Okay, we're going live, and then Ronaldo pops up to just burst even my Spanish bubble, if ever there was one. But guys, good evening. Thank you for joining. I'm Lee. This is Sam. This is episode number 57 of the FPL family. I think our penultimate. Is it our penultimate one, or maybe we've got
of the season? Probably, yeah, because this game week doesn't actually finish till Thursday. We can't really do another one before.
So, yeah, and we've got to do. Have we got a time to do kind of a look ahead to the final game week? We have, I guess, haven't we? We've probably got to do it as game week 37 is still going. We've probably got to do it Tuesday or Wednesday. Tuesday could be a good night, although Swansea and Southampton is going to be epic now, isn't it? That is going to be epic.
We have got until all the games are on Sunday, so we could, in theory, go Thursday.
Extra day, to be fair, we have got an extra day, so that's possible. It's very possible. But that game on Tuesday. Now, I'm so looking. That is of all this. That is a 6-pointer to end all 6 points, isn't it? Swansea versus Southampton. Now, after what's just happened this game week, unbelievable game.
So close at the bottom still, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you guys are saying it's very quiet. I'm not surprised at that. Thank you for saying that. I did turn it down a little bit because I thought I was a little bit loud last time. I'm going to whack it up a little bit, and hopefully that is a little bit better, guys. If that's better, let us know. If it's not, let us know. We're up into the sort of yellowy bits now, so it should be a little bit better. So guys, thank you for telling us that.
It's normally when we're in the yellow that it's good sound, I think.
Yeah, I was just listening back again to the last one. I was again a bit crackly when I was laughing or talking too loud. Plus, people were struggling to hear you on the background, so it was a bit funny.
Well, given my game
week
week this week, it's probably not a bad thing they can hear me, to be honest.
Yeah, we should just go on mute for an hour after that game week. Oh my days! So come on, we've not got time to go through all the fixtures. Plus, Watford, Newcastle. Both on the beach. Leicester on the beach. There's not a lot to. I don't want to go into each individual game, although there is some we do need to talk about. But halfway through the double game week, how are you feeling about it? I think we know, but how are you feeling about it?
If I could use an expletive, I would. I think that's the best way.
No, don't do that.
I think that's the best way to describe it. It's pretty much terrible.
It's triple captain fails all round.
That's the only thing that's gone in my favour this game week. Is after Kane Gate yesterday, I sat there during that City game thinking, oh please don't let Jesus or Sterling do anything, and they didn't do anything either. So at least it's captain blanks all round.
Yeah, but do you know what was interesting? I put a tweet out there about me being behind the sofa for that Spurs game because actually Spurs and Kane in particular. Spurs weren't great. We're going to come to that.
We nearly scored an own goal as well. Don't forget.
Oh yeah, that would have been absolutely horrendous, wouldn't it, for the triple captains? But actually, he had a reasonable amount of shots in the box. I think he had 6 shots in the box at the weekend.
Oh, good.
So actually, it wasn't. The stats weren't quite as bad as maybe the eye test was. The eye test there was terrible from a Spurs perspective. So we're gonna.
I don't want to talk about Spurs. That's a ban word from that now on.
We've got to talk about Spurs. We do need to talk about Spurs a little bit. Before we do that, we're going to say hello. We've got to say hello to.
We've got our intimate family only tonight.
It feels a bit like an in-laws gathering today. It's like by invitation
Immediate
only.
Family only. Small wedding tonight.
Well, yes, I've noticed that actually these streams, if it's been a good game week, people are like, oh yeah, well come on, we get nearly 100 viewers. If it's been a bad one, people are like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm just going to ignore it.
Can I do that? Is there an opt-in for me to do that?
Yeah,
Can I just go, don't want to talk about it? And
not streaming tonight because we'd had a crap game week and we just don't want to do it.
Terrible.
However,
8-point hit as well. Great.
If you guys have got Aubameyang captain, we want to know.
Nobody's captain Aubameyang.
Listen, on the last vlog.
Well, let's be fair, they have got a double, so they might have done.
On the last vlog, we sat and we said, I did a poll and we talked about, who's your captain, Jesus, Sterling, Kane or Salah, I think, or I'm going rogue.
Actually, the rogues, maybe there might be
rogues in there. There's a few rogues. There was a few Hazards. Not that I think Hazard got any points today, but there was maybe an Aubameyang or two, or maybe a Lacazette or two.
Well, that would have gone all right. If you've done that, you'll be all right.
Yeah, if any of you guys have triple captained Aubameyang, we want to know about that. That would be rogue. I'm not sure that anyone's
would have
done
gone
that.
really well.
If you've done that, we'd absolutely.
Or you know, if you've got Mustafi, you've got bench today. Why?
Oh yeah, well, I think there's plenty of tales of woe, guys. So let us know in the live chat. We want to hear obviously the good stories.
No, I don't.
Triple captain.
I want to only hear tales of woe.
You just want this to be the most negative thing going.
I just need to feel better. So if you've got some tales of woe, come on, tell me about them because that'll make me feel better about my life.
Do you need an arm around you? Do you need a little cuddle?
Look, this game, the way this game week has gone, we could throw away the Champions League, and I mean, I'm already down by 8,000 places. I've gone down this week.
We're only halfway through.
Well,
calm down, dear. Calm
Thank
down.
goodness. Thank goodness.
And by the way, you didn't have Cedric Suarez, which is my massive.
No, but
thing.
I had Kieran Trippier, didn't I? He was on for 3 bonus points. West Brom.
Guys, needless to say, at the end of that Spurs game, Sam was a little bit upset about not just the result, but the triple captain foul and the Trippier thing. It was a little bit of a moment, wasn't it? It definitely was a little bit of a moment.
I think it was more than a little bit of a moment.
It was a little bit of a moment. So we're going to say hello to a few of you guys. So guys, 40 people joining. That's more than we expected. That's actually more than we expected.
I actually thought we were going to have just Jeff for a while.
And guys, if you're watching us and you like the vids, let's face it, some of the advice we give out, I know it's flaky at best, isn't it? But if you enjoy the entertainment, if you enjoy the nonsense, if you enjoy coming and commiserating with your fellow in-laws, then please do subscribe to the videos. We're, I think, on 991.
Ooh,
991, so we've got 9 to join. And Jeff, bless him, even strong-armed his missus into subscribing. I'm not even sure if she watches, but she didn't subscribe. She's got a YouTube account. He's gone, right.
Jeff's written us a poem and everything.
I know, we're going to come to that
He's
in a later
highly
vlog.
committed.
That's for a later vlog.
Oh,
and something
committed.
else that Jeff has done for us, he's gone back through all the different videos and looked at where the highlights might be. Now, in itself, a fantastic exercise.
Of us.
It's a very short video. It's match of the day, it ain't. Do you know what I mean? But what he's done, he's gone back through all the videos and looked at some of the highlights.
Okay.
And on the basis of some of that, I'm putting together some FPL Family Awards. And in our last vlog, I don't know when that's going to be. I think it's probably going to be Sunday night after everything is said and done. Probably this time next week. We'll probably do our last one of the season.
It's not our last one ever, though. To clarify, we will be back.
I'll be back, of course we will.
For pre-season.
Of course we will. So we'll be doing but our last one of this season, probably.
Okay,
Next Sunday, and we'll do a little bit at the end where we've got some awards. And I'm not going to say any more than that, but I've picked out some highlights. It's not awards for you and I, it's awards for the community.
Who's getting the wooden spoon between you and Joe at the moment for this week?
Oh, I don't know.
Because that's quite important.
We talk about that. But so to give you a flavour of the sorts of awards, I've got for, most bitter fan, Joe Finley Ballard, because he is on here every week moaning about Watford.
They've been right this week. They've won. But he's not here.
Yeah.
I bet tonight he's not here when they've won.
Well, possibly not, but I'm pretty sure both Watford and Newcastle were so on the beach at the weekend, they just didn't really care. I mean, Deeney just thought, I'll just smash this penalty against the post. So let's say hello to a few people. So that's the idea I've got for next week. It might be rubbish, as usual with the FPL family. We try these things out and see what happens when it comes to awards and things like that. So Jamal is here. Jamal, hope you had a good game week. We're going to be coming along.
Didn't he?
We'll be coming along to the FPL Family Live Streamers League in a bit to have a look at that. Firetog is here. Thank you for joining Firetog, who was also doing very, very well. I wonder if he's catching Jamal in the Live Streamers League. I think he's absolutely up there. Amwinit is here, who I've seen a couple of people say good score Amwinit. So we're going to talk about that later on. Amwinit with his rogue Hazard captain choice a couple of weeks ago. We're going to see if he's done an interesting one. So Notorious Nerd is here. Josh is here. Guna Weave is here. PVFC, thank you for joining. Barry's here. Thanks for joining. Who else have we got? We have got... now, as a first-time joiner here, because I said hello to him just as we were coming on, I think, if I pronounce this wrong, I really apologise, but I think it's Giritar. I think I said that right. Might be wrong.
Welcome.
It's along the lines of a Mkhitaryan and a Aubameyang, isn't it? So welcome. Thank you for joining us.
I might call him Adebayor then. Who knows?
Adebayor, that was funny last time. Hannah is back again for another FPL live stream. Thank you, Hannah, for rejoining. And who else we got? James is here. Thank you for joining, James Brady. And Rivershan is here, as ever. And we've got Jeremy T and a few other people. Vinyl Richard, thank you for joining us.
Where's Aid? Why is he not here
yet? We've got a few of you guys. Joe Finley Badder. We finally won with the little emoji with the sunglasses. Fair play to Watford. They finally got something. So why don't we start and spend the whole hour talking about Watford v Newcastle, because that is such an important... From an FPL perspective...
I've got things to talk about Watford for an hour.
I think, I'm sorry to Joe, but we need to skate straight over that, because I don't think we're going to be bringing in any FPL assets from either of those sides.
Well done, Watford, and move on.
Yeah. Let's start with... Should
Start at the
we
bottom.
do a checkpoint on our team?
No.
Or should we wait?
No.
Let's do a checkpoint on our team.
Why do you want to look at them for?
Because people come on here, they want to, this is a kind of a metaphorical arm around their shoulders.
Yeah, show everyone my team. It'll make everyone feel better.
Well, look, listen.
No, genuinely, it will make you all feel better about your whole lives.
Right, okay, good. Well, we'll come to that in a minute. Here's my tale of woe. It's looking pretty...
32, that's positively brilliant.
32, I don't think is actually too bad. I'm taking an 8-point hit, so that's probably less good. Cedric, what could have been with Cedric? What could have been? 5 points, should have been 12. We'll come to that in a bit. Firmino dropped. So there we go. There's another great bit of trolling from Watford. They didn't keep a clean sheet anyway. For Tongan 6, jammy as hell.
Jammy.
Yes, it was.
Jammy.
Yes.
That's what I've got to say about that.
Yes,
You're jammy.
But now he's injured for the Newcastle game.
Well, that's not good for me though, is it?
Miljovic won. I think the highlight of that game was him getting booked. Lingard benched, came on for a 1-pointer. Sterling blank, but got a clean sheet point, so at least he gets 9.
Well, exactly. I mean, at least you're up, aren't you, on everyone else?
Eriksen 2. Even Salah got booked for diving. I mean, for goodness sake, what is going on with FPL this week? Absolutely terrible. Chilwell, I benched. I didn't think he was going to do anything. Do you know what? Of all the people that Wilson, listen to the guys on Gillette Soccer Saturday.
I genuinely thought Wilson was going to score.
She sounded like he had a good game.
Genuinely, who was I talking to? Somebody I was talking to during the game, and I was like, I genuinely think Wilson's going to score in a minute. And you would have just gone absolutely potty.
It would have been absolutely peak.
You would have literally, the toys would have been
FPL
out of
season.
the pram.
Absolutely peak. But listen, we're not going to dwell because frankly it's terrible.
I tell you what though, you're glad that you didn't play Lawson after today.
Yes, but he will be coming on if Chilwell stays injured for Arsenal for Kiko Firmino. So that 0 will be replaced with a 0.
Oh,
which I'm really happy.
I'm surprised he got 0 because they conceded 5. Maybe didn't play.
Right, so let's have a look at you. So you are 3rd in the Streamers League. So let's have a look.
Oh, well, that won't be staying like that.
Pretty terrible tale of woe. So yeah, let's look at
Foster on my bench, shall we? With 10. Let's look at Foster.
Foster on the bench. What a stinker. De Gea 3. Mustafi didn't play.
Why didn't Mustafi not play?
Kane. This is bad. This is a bad week, isn't it?
But you wouldn't. This is what's ridiculous about it. I mean, I got to laugh because it's funny now. I don't think in all my years of playing fantasy football, I don't think I've ever known all of the big hitters not do anything in a game week.
Okay, well, let's not dwell on that.
Can you think of one?
Well, listen, it's not that none of the big hitters have done anything. I mean, Giroud got a goal. We talked about him. Aubameyang's got 2 goals. Lacazette's got a goal.
Arsenal
got an assist. Gross has scored.
Yeah, but I don't think you can call Gross a big hitter. Not many people.
Of course you can.
No, you can't.
FPL royalty this year. Pascal Gross.
How many people have still got him though?
He's plenty.
Yeah.
He's plenty.
Oh, and also Izquierdo, he trolled me as well, didn't he? Got him out, got an assist against Man United. Great.
So listen, I think the tail of the tape is we're all getting onto City and Spurs, and it just hasn't happened, has it?
Yeah, I mean,
but if you were brave enough to go for some of the differentials I just mentioned, then it's good.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's funny because it's that bad.
PDFC, I have Gross. There we go.
Well, there you are. All right, you've got Gross. I think Jamal has as well, hasn't he?
I think Jamal has got Gross. I brought him in.
So yeah, I think it's really going well in the FPL family household. I also took a -8 hit, so that 23 is actually not even 23, it's 15. Yeah,
wow.
It's how I've gone down 8k.
Wow, Barry is saying my bench looks like this, reads like this: Barnes 1, Lowton 0, Tarko -1. Let's hope none of those.
Let's hope they don't come on then. Yeah, I mean it's brilliant. Roll on Tuesday night and we'll start again and it'll be funny.
Guna Weave, I've got Gross. Boom. There we go.
Well, I tell you what, that's a differential. That'll see you climb 10k having Gross.
I think you're spot on. So
honestly, it's brilliant. This game week is ridiculous.
Let's have a look at some of these scores. Now, I don't know whether this is updated. I don't think it has. No. So Jamal is on 41, which is actually very, very good. The screen says 21. So why don't we come back to
the
league
end.
a bit later on. That just gives me a bit of time just to say...
Actually,
we have got a poll up, so if you go to the eye above my head, there is a poll which talks about how many points you've got so far. Quite straightforward this week. After last vlogs, we've got 5 polls and
we just got one.
To read them. We've just got a bit of fluff on me. We've just got one poll, which is all about how many.
Got another bit now.
How many points have you got so far this game week? And I think I put something like 0 to 15.
Oh, I better go in there.
Yeah. And then 15 to 20. As soon as I said that, I thought we were going to have a go at me. But the last option is something like 45 plus, and I actually think there's quite a few of you guys that are joining that are saying, I've got over 45.
Honestly, if you've done over 45 this week, then pat on the back, because it's a really strange game week. So you've done really well to go over 45.
And Fire Talk is saying, is that net points or total points? Who cares?
You're talking about me?
No, Fire Talk is saying, I think for the poll, is that net points or total points?
Oh, no, let's go for total, because...
Total, I think, yeah.
I think we have to go total, otherwise I've got to go in that bottom category.
Yeah, net points is just even worse, isn't it?
Let's not be cruel.
So if you guys aren't following us on Twitter or Instagram yet, please go and do that. So we're at FPLFamily on Twitter, and we're also at FPLFamily on Instagram.
I only need 9 more followers, and then I'll have 400.
9 more followers for 400.
Nice.
That is superb. And I also want to give a shout out to some very good friends of mine who I am speaking to a bit later today. So I will be joining the boys, as you can see here on this tweet. So I think you're going to come on and say hello, aren't you? I mean, you guys that follow us regularly will know of the... I
have nothing valuable to add, so I'll come on and say hello. But...
Oh, come on! I mean, it's a bad game week, but overall for you, this season has been fantastic. You can't moan too much.
We'll see. I'll be on for a bit, probably.
But for you guys that follow us regularly, you'll know that a few weeks back I did go into London and we did a whole, myself and Tom and Nick sat down. We did what was a frankly amazing piece of podcastery. Oh, it was.
So you will say. There's no evidence of it.
Fabulous piece of podcastery. Only for the gremlins to get the better of us and it all to get deleted, which was obviously Tom was very upset about. So we're going to try again this evening. I'm not trekking into London. You'll be pleased to know at sort of 9 o'clock on a Sunday. Instead, we're going to try a Google Hangout. I think Tom is going to look to be editing that tomorrow. It should be available for download or for streaming probably on Tuesday or maybe even Wednesday, but probably Tuesday. Tom is normally pretty good with the editing. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And for you guys that don't follow the boys who got the assist on Twitter, definitely go and do that at WGTA_FPL. And based on how this game week has gone, I ain't sure what we're going to be talking about. I ain't sure. I think we're going to be talking about the season in general actually, and what it's like to have a rivalry as close as we are and as close as Tom and Nick are. Because their rivalry.
We're not rivals, darling.
Well, from an FPL perspective, we are. Trust me, we are. Trust me, we are.
Oh, well. I've missed that then. There was me thinking, we was all supportive of each other. And...
So that is what I'll be doing after...
Maybe I will stay on then, if we're rivals.
Yeah, you should definitely come on and say hello at least.
Oh, no, maybe I'll just take over then.
Absolutely. So that's our game weeks in a nutshell. We're not going to dwell on that too much. There's our Twitter handle, at FPLFamily. If you go and follow us on there, we'd love you to do that. Let's go and talk about, there's the league, which we hope is going to update. Let's talk about the results then, briefly. And let's start at the bottom. So I had a quick look at this before we come on. This is looking...
brilliant. It's the best end to a season I've seen at the bottom for a long time.
Well, you could see it coming, couldn't you? A few weeks ago, that even from 10th downwards was pretty tight.
Yeah.
So you knew that going into the final game week, there was going to be a few that are still in trouble. West Ham 38 now are safe. As far as I'm aware, they are safe, so they cannot now be caught. I read that right, because Southampton is playing Swansea, right? So
that's
someone
right.
somewhere's got to lose points, therefore West Ham are safe. I think I've got that right. So I think it's only really Huddersfield that are in trouble now. It's 36, plays 33 and 33. The goal difference is going to count almost as an extra point. So Huddersfield looking woeful from a goal difference perspective. Conceded far too many goals, as you can see there, minus 29. Southampton, conversely, actually don't look too bad. Swansea, but even that 3 goals couldn't really make a difference, couldn't it? West Brom look, despite their heroics in that Spurs game, despite those heroics, I mean, they still look...
Heroics?
Well, it is heroics. I mean, goodness me, no one's expecting them to win that,
3 games, it's been the same though, hasn't it? The Man United game, the Liverpool game, the Spurs game.
Well, goodness me, I mean, imagine what they would have done had they sacked Mr. Pardew a little bit earlier.
And got
Darren Moore in. I mean,
should have, would have, could have, I suppose. But Darren Moore, he's up for player of the month, manager of the month, isn't he?
And rightly so. I mean, they've not put a foot wrong, have they, since he's come along?
And
he's come along and really G'd them up a little bit. So the result against Spurs was quite frankly a miracle. I don't think anybody was really expecting that.
At least me.
So they're now 31. They are still alive. They are still alive by the skin of their teeth. I was writing down some of the combinations and permutations here. It's really, really tight. I mean, that Tuesday night, Southampton versus Swansea. Is that at Swansea? It's in Wales.
Yeah, it's
at
in
Swansea.
Wales.
That is now absolutely huge, isn't it? It's absolutely huge.
Well, certainly it's for West Brom, isn't it? Because West Brom, I think I'm right in saying, West Brom, they've got to win both their games and then hope that Tuesday night is a draw and then Swansea and Southampton don't pick up any more points. Is that right?
Yes, West Brom need to win 2 and both Swansea and Southampton need to not win 2 including drawing against each other.
And they've got to concede a lot in the last game of the season.
Quite probably.
Okay.
So it's not impossible, but it's looking highly improbable, let's put it that way.
I kind of want West Brom to stay up now, though, because they've been heroic the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, Josh is saying only one game left. I mean,
they've only got one game left, and that's where it doesn't work in their favour, isn't it?
But one thing I would say, if you're a West Brom fan, I think you take heart in that, don't you? Because you know that going down into the Championship next year, which I think is almost an inevitability, you've got to take some heart from the fact that actually they can bounce back from that. Absolutely can bounce back from that. They've shown in the last few games they can. Beat Spurs and get a draw against Liverpool and all this. Right,
and
United, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so you take some heart from that. So that's Tuesday, a real big game in the Premier League. It looks as if Huddersfield are. I mean, that point is huge, isn't it? I mean, that more or less makes them safe, doesn't it? More or less. I mean, they'd have to lose both games and other results not go their way. Although they do have two very difficult games, don't they? I think it's Chelsea, and then on the last day they are playing Arsenal. So two very difficult games. But listen, it's very, very tight at the bottom, and it's very exciting. So let's talk about the games from an FPL perspective that we watched. So why don't we come to quickly talk about Stoke and Palace. So Stoke, bless them, they're down, they're gone. Poor management from my perspective of the course of the season. A goal up at home to Palace, they lose 2-1. You just can't do that when you need the points that much. You've got to hold on. I mean, they obviously got nervous. So we can't really talk too much more about Stoke, I don't think, because they are dead and buried, and you wouldn't necessarily want to bring their players in. Palace, on the other hand, are an interesting bunch, aren't they? Because despite being safe and more or less on the beach, Hodgson has got them. They're almost like they're at the boarding gate, and he said, no, not yet. Come back. We've got some games to play. And fair play to Hodgson, he has done a fantastic job since he's been in there. They were dead and buried before he turned up.
I think we said a while back, I've lost track now as to when it was, but Palace, there's been a bit of a mini revival there since their players started coming back from injury. So the Zaha returning from injury, Loftus-Cheek coming back, those players arriving back into full fitness, I think has come up, it spurred Palace on a little bit. So when they could have tailed off, these players coming back, they want to end the season positively. They've been out all season.
Absolutely right.
Zaha pretty much all season.
So Amadou is saying Zaha, and they just put the little fire emoticon on. I mean, he has made the difference. There's no question about it.
Absolutely. And we talked last vlog about Loftus-Cheek, and we raised him as a good
comeback, got an assist.
Good one, got an assist this week.
Or was it a goal?
No, he got an assist.
Okay.
So I think for Palace, they're ending the season positively because their players are starting to come back from injury, and they want to finish the season positively because they haven't played. So they want to kind of end the season in a better way than it's gone for them for the rest of the season, if that makes sense, on an individual basis. And like you say, I think Hodgson has done a good job. He's turned it around at Palace, and they're playing for him. So, credit where credit's due to Palace.
So Palace at home to West Brom on the last day.
Wow.
So
see that really.
Are you going to be looking at Zaha for a little cheeky punt?
Well,
on that week.
I mean, I'd be expecting Palace to beat West Brom, but if West Brom, if Tuesday night is a draw, and West Brom have to win that game to stay up, West Brom are fighting for it. It's not going to be easy for Palace that game. It's
definitely not. But I still do fancy Palace. I just think of all the clubs that are in that sort of safe zone, they've got a lot of momentum. They really do have the momentum. And on the last day, maybe it's time for a bit of fun with the captain pick as well. And I know that we're all talking about. We'll do a game week 38 preview at some stage, and you'll be thinking about. Liverpool at home to Brighton.
Yeah, but you be careful with Liverpool because you've got your
exactly right. So you might be looking for a differential captain. Zaha might be that.
Be careful of United, Liverpool, Chelsea because they've all got FA Cup, Champions League finals. So.
Absolutely. So Palace ones to keep on the radar, I think, for the final game week. Bournemouth versus Swansea. I mean, we said it before, and we were talking on the last vlog about how Jordan Ayew is a good pick for the double game week. There's no doubt, and has got a double, so still could do well in that Southampton game. But the stats suggested that attacking flair had gone almost completely from Swansea, and they weren't getting in those difficult positions. They weren't getting in those hurting positions that were going to hurt the opposition, and so it proved. Bournemouth walked to that game, and also, in my opinion.
I think also Swansea, unfortunate that Norton was ill. He makes a big difference to their team.
And a lot of people transferred him in, so that's a big miss.
Yeah, so to lose Norton to illness and not have any heads up on it, at least with Chilwell we had a heads up on Friday afternoon, albeit late, so we could make the changes. But with Swansea, losing Norton late was irritating for a lot of FPL managers out there. Now, presumably, if he was ill, hopefully he'll be back for them on Tuesday evening, which... He does make a big difference to Swansea when he plays. So,
having said that, I don't think Swansea, they're not conceding a lot of goals, right? They're reasonably, I know they're losing games, but they're not losing massively. Their problem is scoring. They are not scoring enough goals. Having said that, Jordan Ayew did miss a bit of a sitter, didn't he? I think his brother was Andre Ayew, put him through, and he missed a bit of a sitter. So we're finishing like that. They've got a big problem, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Big problem. They could do with Fernando Llorente back, couldn't they?
They could. I also think that Swansea, I don't know, but surely Cardiff coming up this weekend is even more momentum for Swansea to stay up.
Oh yes, actually, you're right.
You don't want to be the Welsh team that's got relegated the year that the other Welsh teams got promoted, do you?
Yeah.
So that might encourage Swansea if they ever needed it, maybe.
All right, so let's talk about the final team that are fighting down there: Everton versus Southampton. What an incredible finale to a game that was.
Honestly, I sat there, didn't we? We'd put the kids to bed and we came back down for the last 10 minutes of the game. And we were just sat there watching it, and you were talking about Cedric and then all of a sudden this ridiculous... I thought, first of all, you were like, if Bain scores this free kick like 2 minutes before...
yeah, he hit a good free kick and McCarthy pulled off a worldie, didn't he?
I wasn't happy about that either. And then, and then for that deflected goal to go in so hard on Southampton, that was...
It was a sucker punch.
It was awful.
Because they played really well. And I know that, Everton are on the beach, but nevertheless, going to Goodison is never an easy game. And Southampton were conceding a lot of goals recently. However, what I will say is their mentality has changed a lot.
It's a fight.
Hughes. Oh dear, it's all kicking off in El Clasico. What we're hoping, therefore, there is that we get some minor injuries to Real Madrid players that keep them out for about 3 to 4 weeks. That would be good, wouldn't it? If Ronaldo could just, I don't wish ill on people, but a little ankle twist or something, maybe a month.
So he's back for the World Cup, but just misses the Champions League final.
I don't want to wish these ill things at players. I want them to play in World Cups, of course, but
Well,
you can miss the Champions League final, that'd be fine, wouldn't it? I'd be okay with that. Everyone would be fine with that, wouldn't they?
I'm sure that they were secretly hoping the same of Salah this afternoon.
Right, yeah. Well, he was well off it today, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So Southampton, desperately unlucky. Cedric Owners, desperately unlucky. I think he was on for the 3 bonus points, an assist, a clean sheet, all sorts of points going on, up to sort of 12, 13 points. In the end, we've got to stick with 5, and the goal came in just weird, extraordinary, rubbish circumstance when Davies got the ball. Wasn't exactly a great shot. McCarthy's going to save it, and it takes a massive deflection off Hoot, right? So
it was so unlucky for Southampton, and part of me hopes that they don't go down because of that, because that would be really unlucky.
Okay, Lock-on Kun, thank you for joining me. He's saying that actually Ronaldo, I think he means Ronaldo, already had an ankle twist in the game. Well, good. Good. I'll take that. No, I shouldn't be saying things like that. That's awful to say. But yeah, just 3 to 4 weeks out, it'll probably be all right.
Unbelievable.
Anything from Southampton now are one of those teams where I actually feel like they've got a bit of momentum. So going into the final game week where they have got to play Man City at home, we've seen from City today that actually they're not... difficult to say they didn't turn up because they could have scored a couple of goals today, but it was a very, very...
surprising
party mood, wasn't it, at the Etihad? We're going to come to that game in a minute, but they just didn't really ever feel like they wanted to get out of first gear, never mind second. So given that Southampton have got to play City at home, will we expect a bit of rotation from Pep? Will the 11 that turn up be a bit lethargic? Will Southampton be bang up for it because they need to be? What are you thinking from an FPL perspective? You thinking about Southampton assets?
I don't even know what I think about FPL at the moment. I don't know whether I think... No, genuinely. I don't know whether I think that...
Say that again. You literally don't know what you think about FPL at the moment.
No, because I think... Well, surely Southampton...
I'll let the boys know that, by the way, when I pod later.
What?
I don't know. That in the FPL family, we genuinely don't know what's going on in FPL whatsoever. I'm sure their listenership will go through the roof. Sorry, go on, I've interrupted. They've joined us, by the way, in the live chat. So, boys, thank you for joining. Very kind of you to join.
Hello.
You've lost your train of thought now, haven't you?
You've confused me now. Yeah, so...
You're saying you haven't got a clue about FPL.
Just in general. No, in Southampton, you would think that last game of the season they will be totally... Well, they'll have to be up for it because they have to win it. City, you can't believe that City are going to end the season in a damp squib, can you? You can't believe that they're going to draw against Huddersfield today, and then just taper off till the end of the season.
That game today, it was that game today, as much as the Brighton game, yes, but the Huddersfield at home, the party, the trophy, the atmosphere, that's the reason we're all triple captaining.
Well, I'm not.
So, well, a lot of people were triple captaining the City player for today, and it didn't happen for them. But that just didn't happen. It just really didn't happen.
But you can't believe that that's not going to irritate Pep, and that he's not going to be out there going, "Come on now," you know.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, even in his post-match, when he was on the pitch being interviewed, he's got the medal round his neck. You're thinking, can't be happier.
He wasn't thrilled.
The guy from Sky Sports was asking him about, what he's done this season. He said, yeah, but even in some games we could have done better, which was clearly a swipe at the players today. And you're thinking, oh my God, they're up there, they're all jubilant, they've won the Premier League trophy. And you're still saying, that is Pep Guardiola's mentality. He's still saying there's something more they can give. I agree with you.
I just don't believe... I think that Southampton-Man City game could be really interesting because both sides will want to win it. Now, obviously, Man City will want to win it from a different point of view. They don't need to win it, but they'll want to win it because Pep's already talked about wanting to have this record-breaking season, hasn't he? Southampton obviously need it.
Okay, all right. So that's Southampton. I, for one, will, we've got probably one, maximum 2 transfers left this season, if you're going to take a -4. Southampton are one of those teams that I may have a look at. I mean, I've got Cedric already. I don't know if I want to double up on Southampton, but Palace at home to West Brom, I like the look of Palace. They've got momentum. Southampton, there's something to play for. I'm just starting to build up a picture of the teams that I'll even be looking at for the final game. Like Leicester, Watford, Newcastle, Brighton, no, forget it. But Southampton, yes, probably. Palace, momentum, yes. I don't know, so some I might have a look at. The final team who are hanging in there by the skin of their teeth, and it really is the skin of their teeth in the 90-something minute, is West Brom. An unbelievable result against Spurs. What was your view? Without being too emotional about it, what was your view? Because Spurs did look off it, didn't they? And again, didn't really pass the eye test.
I don't know what's happened to us. We're not playing very well at the moment. I genuinely think we are knackered. I think that is certain. I think we did look better defensively this game week. All right, we weren't playing Davis, we were playing Rose, but he seemed to be having an all right game. But when Vertonghen went off, it seemed to just fall a little bit at the back. Credit to West Brom though, because they spent 90 minutes pretty much defending in that game. Everything you read was Spurs coming forward, not necessarily coming forward with any great oomph, but it was Spurs. Yeah. 80-odd% of the possession. But they nicked it, okay. and you've got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Aid is saying, Lock on Kun is saying, when Son doesn't play, they don't win. It's an interesting point, that. And so Hannah's saying, Spurs, why do we do this to ourselves? There's a few Spurs fans on tonight that are really not happy. Really not happy. Rivershan is saying, Spurs definitely missed Dembele that game. So,
and Dyer. We missed Dyer a lot when he doesn't play.
So do you think there's a bit of a squad depth thing going on here at Spurs?
No, I don't think it's necessarily a squad depth thing. I think the problem that we have is that the Spurs first team are so set that we don't really rotate them that often for Champions League. We've never really we've not had a season like this where we've gone so far in the Champions League and the FA Cup in a long time, and I just think they're knackered, and we don't have the players that can come in are decent players.
Yeah,
You're not talking about players that are poor. Rose, I'll leave Aurier out of it, but the players that can come, Lucas Moura, for example, they're good players. They're not bad players. It's just that they don't get enough game time. So
from an FPL perspective, you're expecting Son to come back? You're expecting
I hope
Dyer to come back in? Moussa Dembele to come back in?
I can't.
How are you feeling about that Newcastle game now? From an FPL perspective, where do you think the points are going to come from?
Kane, 5. No, yeah. I mean, I can't believe that. I can't believe that we won't be full strength on Wednesday night. So Dembele's a little bit different because he has got an injury that they were monitoring. I don't think it's bad enough to keep him out of Wednesday. I think it was just a precaution that he missed yesterday. Dyer will be back. I would expect Davis back. I'd expect Son back.
So Notorious Nerd is saying, yeah, Davis should have played. Rose offers no attacking output. It's a funny one, isn't it? I'm expecting Rose to leave in the summer, given that he might have fallen out with Pochettino a little bit. But you definitely do, and the boys from Who Got the Assist are saying the same. You know, there's something you miss by not having Davies in there.
Yeah,
I mean,
I totally agree.
You know, fundamentally, he gives you that dynamic.
And I didn't expect to not see Davies, but I can only think that was because Rose was fit and Davies needed a rest. I guess that was why. I think, having said all of this, the fact that we didn't have Son start, we didn't have Davies start, we didn't have Dyer or Dembele, those players will start on Wednesday night. That should mean that we go into that Newcastle game with a full strength side.
So are you a worried Kane triple captainer at this stage, or are you how you feeling about that decision?
Nah, I'll be fine. It can't be negative.
Yeah, be fine.
Well, it can't be negative your whole life, can you? I'm over the negativity from yesterday. Everybody's blanked. Everybody, apart from if you've triple captained somebody bonkers, and then credit to you if you have done that. But all those that have triple captained City and Spurs, I think you're looking at now. It's a level playing field again, isn't it? So.
And news on the Vertonghen injury, because that was the jammy one, wasn't it? I mean, if you've got Vertonghen, I bought him in for a hit this game week, so I was quite pleased to see him go off on 86 and bank that clean sheet despite going off because of an injury.
He's twisted his ankle.
You follow the Spurs news more than I do. Is he going to be back for that Newcastle game, or? I
think it will be touch and go for Wednesday night. It's a twisted ankle. So
one of the guys on here, I can't remember who it was, sorry, but somebody was saying that he was spotted at the Hay and Bellew fight last night without too much of a limp going on. He seemed to be all right.
Yeah, twisted his ankle.
Maybe he's going to be okay.
We'll see. From what I've heard so far from the Spurs sources, they've not really said very much. But then it is bank holiday weekend, so I would expect maybe not to hear anything until probably tomorrow in prep for Wednesday. If he's not quite right on it, though, we won't risk him because we don't need to. Because Toby's obviously playing again.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I guess he might be the only one I'd be slightly concerned about as a Spurs fan.
So Barrett is saying Vertonghen will start against Newcastle. He's pretty sure about that. Hannah is saying super lucky Vertonghen clean sheet, hoping he'll be okay. PBFC is saying Vertonghen clean sheet was pure filth. Yeah, it was. It was very, very jammy indeed if you've got him. Rivershan is saying Harry hat-trick incoming. He wears his heart on his sleeve. And he'll still want the golden boot. So
Rivershan, honestly, I hope so.
You hope so.
I don't know what else I can say other than I hope so.
All right, moving swiftly on. Let's have a look at what was, I'd like to say a Super Sunday. It was a bit of an anti-climatic Sunday, to be honest.
They were showing the wrong game, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean,
should have showed Arsenal.
They kind of had to show those games, didn't they? The City and Huddersfield game, they kind of had to show. Because of obviously the trophy, and they're expecting a bit of a procession.
And then didn't show Arsenal though, given it was Wenger's last game.
I think it was the timing, wasn't it? Because they've got City and Huddersfield, and they obviously want a gap to show the trophy and stuff. So hence they put Liverpool and Chelsea on at 4:30. So I don't know. Plus that Arsenal Burnley game, I guess maybe they moved it to Sunday because of the Europa League. I don't know. But either way, yeah, you're absolutely right. From an entertainment perspective, that's the game you want to watch. Now, given that we were watching City and then the Chelsea-Liverpool game. Didn't really get to watch the Arsenal games. I haven't really got much of a thought on that, other than I've seen the goal scorers. And yes, if you've got Aubameyang, happy days. Outside of that, if you've got Kolasinac, if anybody took a bit of a punt on Kolasinac, and I'm not sure why you would, but if you did, fair play.
I think the things to talk about from an Arsenal point of view, obviously, Lacazette and Aubameyang, people will have had them.
What about Ramsey? Because Ramsey didn't play, right?
So, and I nearly, very, very nearly did at Ramsey, and the only reason I didn't do the Ramsey transfer in the end is because the Chilwell news came out on Friday afternoon.
A lot of chatter in the Twitter community about Ramsey. A lot of chatter.
Now, I think it's really interesting because if you look at the last, I think it's 8 or 9 game weeks for Arsenal, Ramsey's played very little, and the Arsenal fans you speak to are like, it's Champions League, Europa League stuff. He's only playing in the big games. Sure. We're resting him in.
Sure.
But to not play today, odd for me. Very, very odd. Yeah. Wenger's last game of the season. Now
he did come on. He got, come on for a 1-point cameo. I think the guys are saying on here.
Yeah. That's no good for man nor duck or whatever the phrase is. I can't think. Man nor beast.
That's no good for man nor duck.
Beast.
Right, Jeff, can you write that one in your highlights, please? That is absolutely brilliant. That's no good for man or duck. Well-known saying.
Man or beast. How you confuse a beast and a duck,
Ramsey's
really.
1-pointer, no good for man or duck. Right.
But Ozil, what is going on with Ozil? Just leaving.
Listen, this is right. So this is an FPL stream. We're going to be talking about which players you're going to bring in. No one brought in Ozil.
People will have brought him in.
He's ill all the time.
No.
He's got a.
People will have.
I saw a really nice tweet actually. It said, the official thought on it was, he's got some sort of back problem, and then there was a retweet by an Arsenal fan that just went, yeah, he's spineless.
That's right.
It kind of feels like that, doesn't it?
Pretty much what Martin Keown said about him on Thursday night, wasn't it?
Maybe he's right. I mean, come on, the guy is so ill all the time. This is Wenger's last game, and he. All right, maybe he's got a back injury.
But people would have put him in because people were looking at those Arsenal players as differentials. I was quite pleased to have Mustafi in my team. I was thinking, yeah, there's a clean sheet for you all day long.
Yeah, but even that, if you look at recent performances, and actually Josh96 is saying this, Mustafi has just been massively outperformed by Mavropanos, I think you say it. The young Greek guy, Mavropanos, he's looked very, very good since he's come in, and Mustafi looks shaky at best over the last few weeks. So I don't think you could see that coming, but I kind of didn't fall off my chair when it happened.
I did.
I know you did, because you've got Mustafi in your team, but it wasn't the biggest shock, I don't think. I mean, a lot of us, I think, were expecting Ramsey to play. Him being benched was a shock, but Mavropanos playing over Mustafi was not the biggest shock, in my opinion.
I just think, I think from an Arsenal point of view, I mean, it was a great performance to end for Wenger today. They were always likely to turn up. I'm pleased for Wenger that it's ended positively in the way that it has. That's really important.
And the boys who got the assist are saying Coutinho, if you remember, had a back injury as well, didn't he? So what does that say about Ozil, potentially?
I think Ozil's off. I think he must be. I can't.
We'll see.
I mean, he's been so moping around since Sanchez, or since before Sanchez went. They used to mope around together, didn't they?
We'll see. Let's talk about FPL assets then for that final game. Where are Arsenal going on the last day?
Well, they've still got to play Leicester in this double first.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. And which is a fantastic game. Would you consider them they're going away to Huddersfield on the last day? How are you feeling about that?
I kind of feel like with all of these things, and I know I've said it quite a lot already, and I'm at risk of just being a broken record, but Tuesday is pivotal, isn't it? Because if one of Southampton or Swansea is already down after Tuesday, then Huddersfield need to win that game less, and therefore Arsenal perhaps are more likely to do something against them. If Huddersfield need something out of that game, and Arsenal actually have got nothing left to play for, then...
Yeah, but look at it. I mean, Huddersfield, let's have one very quick look at this. Huddersfield are more or less there, aren't they? I mean, if Southampton and Swansea draw on Tuesday, and they're both on 34, and then they both win their fixtures, which are tough, right? And one of them's got to play... it's Stoke at home for Swansea, and then it's City home for Southampton, as we said before. If they draw Tuesday and both win, yes, then Huddersfield are in trouble because they've got two really nasty games against Chelsea and then Arsenal. I think they're all but safe, aren't they? I think they're all but safe. But listen, Arsenal assets for me. I think there's
Arsenal. I'd still be banking on my Arsenal assets. I just wouldn't get Ozil.
Yeah, but so for example, Aubameyang looks bang on form right now. Would you get him in for that Huddersfield game? Is he your final transfer of the season? Who have you got up top? Kane? Probably not going to lose him, are you? Who else have you got?
Jesus.
Yeah, so they've got to play that Southampton game. Yeah, maybe. Is that Siri?
Why is Siri talking in the background?
What did we say?
There's another one for you, Jess. Just random Siri going off in the background. Would I get... No, because my other one I've got is Jordan Ayew, and I don't have the money to go Jordan Ayew to Aubameyang.
Okay. But one to watch for next year, in my opinion, Aubameyang. One to watch.
Oh, yes, certainly.
Depends how they price him, and given that they've priced him at 10.5 and he's come in and done well, he's going to be expensive, isn't he? Can't see it going down from 10.5, put it that way. So if he comes in at 11.5, he might be a bit restrictive, but he's one to look out for.
I actually think that, I mean, we said at the beginning of this season, didn't we, that the strikers were priced really difficultly last season because it meant that you had to choose probably one and then have two weaker ones if you wanted a half decent midfield, and I can only see that getting worse in this coming.
Okay, and then finally the Chelsea versus Liverpool game. Then, what did you make of that? Any thoughts on that? Or should I give my verdict?
I was really surprised by Liverpool's performance today.
Okay, in what sense?
I expected more from you. I wanted more from you.
So for me, I think it was, yes, we've played much better than that this season, but the season is starting to take its toll. I mean, they've clearly got one eye on Europe.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
They've got, coming off the back of those two really energetic performances against Roma, as well as emotionally difficult. You've got to go away to Roma. It's a very difficult game to deal with emotionally. They look knackered, to be honest with you. They looked absolutely knackered.
My fear with Liverpool is, with your closing game of the season, because you just got the one left now. What kind of team does he put out? Because whilst it's a 2-week gap between the end of the season and your final in Kiev, what happens if one of them gets injured in that last game? Like, what if he puts out a full-strength side and Salah gets injured, or Firmino gets injured, or what does he do? Does he? I think the way the top of the league is now, to guarantee yourself Champions League football, you kind of have to put yourself out. You have to play a full strength side, don't you?
I think he will absolutely go full strength in that game, and the reason he's got to is because we haven't really got anybody else. The biggest challenge is in that middle three. So actually, if you take Ings and Solanke and a few others in there, you could maybe change that front three around a little bit. Not that you'd want to, because they're so dynamic and so efficient. But in the middle three there, that is a real problem for us today. Notice he dropped Henderson and put Trent in there, so he could give Henderson a bit of a rest. Well, that didn't go well, did it? First half, and we actually looked a bit better, a bit more dynamic when he put Trent back at right and put Henderson in the middle. So we're missing players there. That middle of the park is a real problem with Chan injured, Lallana injured, Ox injured.
So for me, I think his play will be to go out there, try and beat Brighton in the first half, in order that he can give people a rest in the second half and keep them for the Champions League final.
No, I don't think he'll even be worried about the Champions League final. That's 2 weeks after the end of the season. We've got a week break now between now and the Brighton game. That's enough to get players rested, go again in that game, win that game, and then it's 2 weeks until. So Chan might be back. He had a back injury for a bit, didn't he? And actually Lallana might be back.
An actual back injury or an urgent
back injury? Quite. And there is rumour of him still going, so quite. Lallana should be back. Ox isn't, but there should be a few that are just rested.
Oh really? Lallana should be back for the Champions League final.
He could be, yeah, potentially.
Wow, okay.
Potentially. Whether you want, I mean, he played a bit part in the last few weeks. Whether you want to chuck him straight back into a Champions League final, I don't know. But at least he's a good option on the bench.
Depends who else you got.
Well, this is it. It could be, yeah, absolutely. And even Milner today kind of had a bit of it. He was limping about a bit, wasn't he? But let's talk about Liverpool assets then for that last game. So you're saying, which I think I'm agreeing with, it's got to be full strength because they've got to win now against Brighton. You can't go into that game and risk anything. Sticking with Salah, sticking with Van Dijk and Robertson, all those sorts of guys. Do we stick with Liverpool now, or do we get them out on the basis that, well, hey, we've got a Champions League final, we've got to rotate in that Brighton game? What's your thoughts? Are you keeping Salah for a start?
Yeah. You don't take Salah out before Brighton. If you were going to take Salah out, you'd have done it this week.
Yes, I think so. And I think a lot of people were looking to bring him back, I think, actually, for 38.
Yeah,
potentially.
A lot of people did, didn't they? They swapped Salah for Eriksen or KDB or one of those big money players. And I understood why people did that. For me, I'm not going to lose Robertson or Salah. They're my two Liverpool players. I won't lose either of them before that Brighton game. Okay, so
Barry is saying Moreno captain game week 38. No, thank you. Although he has just signed a new long-term contract.
What did you say? Moreno will never again grace my fantasy league team.
He will never again grace my fantasy. That is absolutely true. He's just awful, isn't he? Although he actually came on today, didn't look too bad. Although to be fair, our team was most of them walking around with a limp or wounded or just knackered. The fact that he come on and showed a bit of pizzazz was like, oh god, here we go. He looks the most likely in the team. Rivershan is saying Wijnaldum too defensive. Ox a big miss. Yeah, I agree.
I feel really bad for Ox, I really do.
PVFC Salah couldn't keep scoring braces and hat tricks every match. Yeah, I mean,
and Kane's thrilled about that.
Well, but on his lofty standards, on a bit of a sort of slump, isn't he? To be fair, but
it's Brighton on the last day.
It's a brave FPL manager that goes into game week 38 without him. Still. And Lock-on Kun is saying Klopp said next game he's going all out to win as the Champions League final is 3 weeks away. Yeah, absolutely what we're saying. Absolutely. He's got to win that Brighton game.
He risks not getting top 4.
Yeah, and it's difficult. It's a shame, isn't it? Because you look a few weeks back, we were 10 points clear of Chelsea.
I don't know what's happened to the both of us. Well, I know what's happened to you, but I don't know what's happened to us.
Yeah, well, we've had an eye on Europe, haven't we? But I'm not sure what your eyes are on. I've got no idea.
It was on the FA Cup, and then we went out of that.
Yeah, so very quick word. I know that we've got plenty of football to go in the next week before now and Sunday. Salah captain for Sunday? Or someone else? Game week 38 captain?
I'm
Too early to say?
No, I'm probably going to leave it on Kane. I mean, we've got Leicester at home. Leicester who haven't turned up for anything for weeks.
Got Brighton at home.
Yeah, but
okay.
You captain Salah, I'll captain Kane, and we'll see who wins.
Why change a habit of a lifetime? We've been doing that for ages.
Why not?
PVFC saying Kane captain versus Leicester. Anyone? I think the whole live stream's going, oh, Salah captain, Salah captain.
No, Kane.
Actually, saying Kane. Someone's trolling me, I'm sure. So Lock on Kun, Ronaldo off injured. Don't wind me up if that's happened. I'll be delighted.
Is that the truth?
Shashank, Kane still has a chance to beat Salah. Yeah, absolutely does. Yeah, absolutely does. And when it's then Zaha captain, you see, I like that. That's what I love about Amonet. He's not afraid to take a bit of educated punt on a captain.
I want to know about his team. Have they done really well this week?
So that's what we're going to end on. So that is all the games so far in game week 37. Plenty more football to go. Plenty more time for Kane,
six more
and Jesus
games.
and Sterling to get us points. I, for one, am really looking forward to Tuesday night. That is going to be a slugfest, isn't it? Southampton versus Swansea.
Yeah.
Which side of the fence do you think you're going to go? Where do you think that game's going to go? It's at Swansea.
I would like Southampton to win the game, but I think Swansea will.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Cool. I think the complete opposite. I think the Saints are going to win that.
I just think that Cardiff coming.
Swansea can't score any goals.
No, but I think Cardiff coming up, the fact that they're at home, all of the things that will. If you're ever going to have something that, I mean, it's like saying to the Spurs players, Arsenal have just been promoted and you're going to get relegated.
Right, stop everything. You guys are saying Ronaldo off, Asensio on, Lock on Kun, Ronaldo injured, and Ronaldo off injured. Is it a bad one, guys, or is it like a little precaution? Have I jinxed him?
Have you just jinxed Ronaldo?
Have I just won the Champions League?
On Friday night when you said to everybody that Man United were going to win this game 1-0 and Brighton won it 1-0.
Oh yeah, I literally tweeted. It's got 1-0 United written all over it.
Stop talking. You jinx everything.
Kane is definitely going to blank in the next game.
Oh yeah, say that. I love you more if you say things like that.
Right, let's just take a quick look at the league before we go, because I'm going to be on with the boys who got the assist in about 35 minutes time, and as usual, the guys are so well prepared. They've done all their notes, so I'm sure that Tom has sent me a Word document full of stuff we're going to talk about. I know what the theme is for the pods. I've got to come up with some puns.
Oh, I did think of one of them, though. I won't say it.
Don't give away the theme. Don't give away the theme.
No, but I
Tell
thought
me
of one.
offline.
I will
Very
do,
good,
yeah.
very good.
I thought of one while I was walking Evie over to pick Max up from football earlier.
Excellent. All right. Well, I look forward to hearing that in a bit. Let's have a quick scoot down the live stream regulars league and see how you guys are getting on.
Let's have a look at Amwinet.
Jamal41 is very, very good. Hoping that your second round of game week 37 action propels you up that league, Jamal. Ian Wilson, we've got to have a mention to. Fantasian PL, 63, by the way. 63.
It's a bit different to 10 from the other week.
Very, very good indeed. Aubameyang captain, which is frankly outrageous. Absolutely outrageous, which I'm loving that.
Great decision. Well done.
Vertonghen with the jammy clean sheet, which I'll take as well, absolutely. Alonso with the 5. Very good indeed. So yes, Aubameyang captain. Ian, fair play to you. That's a massive differential in a game week where everyone is talking about Kane and City. He's gone Aubameyang. That is absolutely brilliant. So Ian, fair play. Jeff is also doing very, very well. 51. So let's have a quick look at this team.
Not Jeff doing well.
He must be above you now by a few points.
By about 100 probably.
He's beat you by about 30 this game.
I didn't take any hits and I took 8.
Aubameyang again. Sané in there. Otamendi 9.
Don't talk to me about Otamendi. He trolls me, that man.
And it looks as if Jeff is one of the very, very few players that played Ryan. There's plenty of people that have got Ryan. He's a very highly owned goalkeeper, but
I've gone right off Jeff. Do you know?
Not many.
I've gone right off him.
Not many have played Ryan. He's sat on a lot of benches, I think. Let's see who else we've got down here. Richard, 57. You kept that one quiet, Richard. Very, very good indeed. Let's have a look. Let's see where the big points are coming from. Hazard, Aubameyang again. He's the difference. Aubameyang is the difference.
Alonso.
Davies didn't play, but so it looks like Masuaku might be coming on as long as Davies.
No, Davies will play on Wednesday night.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Hopefully he's injured or something. Well, hopefully he's injured from Richard's point of view because Masuaku coming on would be good.
He's not injured.
He just rested.
Just rested.
Okay, all right. So Richard on 57, very good indeed, sir. Let's have a look at what else you guys are doing. 51, Josh Oram. Very good, Josh. Very good, mate. I like that. Let's have a look. Where are the points here? Duffy and Zanka at the back and Dubravka in goal. 11 pointer from Dubravka. That is outrageous,
Where's that
Josh.
come from?
That's outrageous. Oh, I'm absolutely loving that. 11 pointer from your keeper. Look at that.
From?
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
Crumbs, what a pick.
Great stuff. All right, guys. Well, I think we are done for our half-time review, or whatever it is you would call this vlog, our half-time review of Game Week 37. We're going to be back again in the middle of the week, probably Tuesday or maybe Wednesday. Maybe Wednesday. Let's see how it goes.
It's a tough one because the game week doesn't finish till Thursday.
Yeah, and actually Thursday might actually be, given that we've got that extra day, because the game's on Sunday, right? I assume.
They are all on Sunday.
Happens,
Sunday,
yeah?
3 o'clock. Yeah.
So given that we're on Sunday, maybe Thursday's not such a bad thing.
I think Thursday might be better.
All right. Okay. Well, what's streaming after the games? What game is on TV that day?
It's Man United, Man United West Ham game.
Okay. All right. Well, we could have a look at that. As usual, I've forgotten the polls. So lock on Kun Aid. Fair play to you. You're absolutely right. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is have a look at polls. I'm very near. It's so weird. I picked up my phone almost like immediately, instinctively went to Twitter. That's how often I'm on Twitter at the moment. It's crazy. So how are you doing so far? Where am I? I'm up in here, aren't I? So yeah, pretty much a bell curve here. So 0 to 15, 3%, 16 to 25, 19%, 26 to 35, 48%, 36 to 45, 16%, and then over 45, 12%. So there's a few people knocking about in good game weeks. 12% of you on over 45 is very good. But we've just seen there from Josh and a few others. There's a few Aubameyangs in there, which would have made a difference to that poll in particular.
Just got to hope that they don't do anything on the week, so that we can catch up. The rest of us can catch up.
Quite possibly. But actually, look, 16 to 35. That seems to be where most of us are. So over half of the FPL community that's listening right now are at 26 to 35. So it's very much a bell curve in there, as expected. We will be back. We'll be back on Thursday night then.
Hopefully chirpier.
Thursday night, hopefully chirpier. Hopefully Kane's got you something. You know, a missed pen or something, or a red card.
What is wrong with you?
And hopefully Sterling and Jesus have got,
red cards,
for most of the community, something else. So we will be back on Thursday night, guys. Thank you for tuning in. As we mentioned before, I'm going to be, and I think you're going to make a small appearance on the next Who Got the Assist podcast. So for you guys that aren't following those, the boys...
If you do small, I won't be able to stop talking, and then you have to just
I have warned the guys
go
about
away.
that. I have warned the guys. Yeah, I have warned the guys. It's very difficult once you get going. You get a bit of momentum. So go and follow the boys at WGTA_FPL on Twitter. And I think Madrid conceded again. This is good. And Barca have had a man sent off as well. This is a good
game.
What's
going on? We've missed all of this.
That's why no one's listening to this nonsense. They're all watching El Clasico. Absolutely right. With Ronaldo injured as well. Goodness
Madrid
me.
don't look happy.
Mr. Messi. What a surprise. So if you're not following Who Got the Assist on Twitter, please go and do that. And look out for their next pod, which will feature me and a little bit of Sam on Tuesday. I guess Tom will need probably Monday to do the editing. So either Monday night or Tuesday. But if you're following them on Twitter, you will know, because I'll give you, they'll post it on SoundCloud. So guys, we will see you on Thursday. Thank you for joining. As ever, get onto @FPLFamily on Twitter, @FPLFamily on Instagram. And if you like to have it and you haven't subscribed already, please go and do that. We are about 9, maybe 10 away from 1k subs, and it would be amazing if we can be sitting here doing our season wrap-up video with all the awards and all that stuff. It's going to be a good one next Sunday. We've got a lot planned. If we're at 1k subs, that would be absolutely awesome. We would love that. And remember to hit that like button again if you like the vids. So until we see you next time on Thursday, good luck with the rest of Double Game Week 37.
It can't get any worse, everyone. Just think of it that way.
It can only go one way.
It can only get better.
It can only get better. And there should be we should play that song.
Yeah, but we don't play that song.
We don't play the song. No.
You'll get us in trouble.
We won't play things that only get better. So guys, good night, and we will see you on Thursday. Thank you for joining.
Good night, everyone.